In this podcast, Cal Newport discusses the topic of overload, particularly during the holiday season. He acknowledges that while the podcast often focuses on productivity and minimizing distractions, overload is a common issue during this time of year. Newport offers 3 concrete steps to address overload and prevent it from becoming a recurring problem. Newport begins by explaining the theory behind overload using a chart. He illustrates the concept of a limit for how many obligations a person can handle before feeling overloaded. He emphasizes that this limit varies based on the type of work and individual personality. Newport also introduces the idea of workload oscillations, where the number of obligations fluctuates above and below the maximum limit, leading to periods of overload. The first step Newport recommends is to reduce obligations immediately when feeling overwhelmed. This involves simplifying the schedule by canceling or deferring commitments. He encourages listeners to identify areas where they can lighten their workload, such as volunteering, social plans, or work-related tasks. Newport emphasizes the importance of recognizing the need to pull back from certain obligations, even if it goes against the societal pressure to always be available and busy. After simplifying the schedule, Newport advises creating a systematic plan for managing the remaining workload. This involves looking ahead on the calendar and blocking out specific time for tasks. He suggests allocating dedicated time for different responsibilities, such as work-related projects, administrative tasks, or personal commitments. Newport also recommends adding large blocks of time to the calendar, such as hiring childcare for work coverage or scheduling uninterrupted work sessions. The final step involves planning to prevent future overload. Newport encourages individuals to reflect on the current overload experience and develop strategies to minimize similar situations in the future. This proactive approach helps individuals regain a sense of control and efficacy. Newport suggests implementing quotas for certain types of work, future time blocking, automatic no lists, and practicing hard no's. Additionally, he advises considering bigger shifts, such as changing positions within a company or field, to address the controllability of workload. Newport shares examples of plans he has put in place to prevent overload during the holiday season. He mentions starting gift shopping early to avoid last-minute stress, scheduling social activities, and being mindful of work commitments during specific periods. Newport also highlights the effectiveness of the deferred yes strategy, where individuals defer their response to requests until they have reviewed their schedule during their next planning session. The conversation continues with the challenges of managing communication overload in a professional setting. He introduces the concept of the hyperactive hive mind, which refers to the constant barrage of emails, instant messages, and other forms of communication that can overwhelm individuals in a knowledge-based work environment. Newport emphasizes the importance of finding ways to manage and streamline communication to avoid burnout and maintain productivity. Newport introduces the idea of a second brain, which refers to an external system for storing and organizing information that is relevant to one's professional life. He explains that the human brain is not well equipped to handle large volumes of complex information, and having a second brain can help individuals keep track of ideas, notes, and research materials. Newport acknowledges that the complexity of the system used for this purpose is more about personal preference than having a significant impact on productivity. In the final segment, Cal reacts to a chart shared by Derek Thompson, which shows a decline in standardized scores in mathematics, reading, and science across the developed world, particularly around 2012. He discusses the potential impact of smartphones on academic performance and mental health, citing the increasing evidence of negative effects associated with unrestricted access to the internet through smartphones for adolescents. Cal addresses the knee-jerk skepticism surrounding the influence of smartphones and emphasizes the need to take the issue more seriously, as more countries and school systems are implementing restrictions on smartphone use. Cal also mentions the correlation between the decline in academic performance and the average GPA at Harvard, suggesting a potential grade inflation in response to students' reduced ability to concentrate. He concludes the episode by encouraging listeners to consider the impact of overload and the importance of doing less in order to maintain a balanced and productive lifestyle.